Ma'am, the last occasion that you saw the defendant, do you recall before you left that you were present when there was, when Shayana said something to the defendant in your presence?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of that, did the defendant then say something?
Yes.
Okay. What did Shayana say to him first?
She said, should I give the paper?
Okay. And what did the defendant, Aaron Hernandez, say when she said that to him?
Yes.
Okay. What happened after that?
So she got the paper from a drawer
Okay. And where did she get the paper from? What drawer?
in the kitchen.
Okay. And when she was getting the paper from the kitchen, did you just describe where you were and whether you could see what she was doing?
I were like near, it's like a table with the granite on, like a granite table, and there's like a thing, I don't know the name, like with the drawer. So like a balcony, like with the drawer, like the first drawer. She opened it, and she got like four, like or 3 or 4, like I don't remember exactly the amount of the papers, but she got all the same thing, and she gave to me.
Okay. And at that time, did the defendant, Aaron Hernandez, when she gave that to you, did he say something to you?
No, I asked something first.
Okay, I'm sorry. What did you ask?
I asked, oh, what the papers for?
Okay. And did he say something at that time?
And he said from the couch. He was in the living room, but he could see us on like the kitchen. And he saw like, oh, it's just like a papers that you can like tell about our life or whatever happened here. So about what I do, what she does, what is like our life.
Okay.
Some kind like that kind of stuff.
I see. And how long did he speak to you at that time?
Just like a few words.
Okay. And as a result of that, did Cheyenne actually give you the paper?
Yes.
And you said there were how many papers approximately?
Like 4 or 5.
And did she...
And she say, oh, it's for you.
Objection. Objection sustained.
Okay. Where was the defendant when, before you, when did she speak again? Just yes or no? Did Cheyenne say something in addition to you?
Yes.
Okay. And where was the defendant at that time?
At the couch.
Okay. And when she spoke to you, did you see what, if anything, the defendant did?
Nothing.
Okay. Did he...
Yeah, he stayed the same.
I'm
Seated
sorry?
on the couch.
He stayed...
Seated on the couch.
He was sitting on the couch, okay. And when she said that next thing to you, was that in his presence?
Yes.
And did he object in any way to what she was saying to you?
No.
Okay. What did she say?
She say, oh, just bring it to Grassy Alley and tell her to give to everybody that came to clean my house.
Okay.
To the other girls.
Now, do you know that last occasion, in terms of the date, when that was?
1 day before he was arrested.
Okay. And did you then, did you sign in that document?
No.
Okay. What did you say to them?
I just say, okay, I will bring it home and I will give to Grassy.
Okay.
And I will read and...
And did you read it?
Yes.
That was your... Ma'am, I'm just going to show you this document and ask you to recognize it.
Yes.
Do you recognize this?
Yes.
How do you, what is it?
It's the same document that he gave to me. Oh, sure. Sorry, she gave to me.
Okay. And, Your Honor, I would offer this as the next exhibit, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit. I could publish this, Your Honor. I'm putting, this has been marked 192. And can you see that, okay, ma'am? It's just right to your left.
Yes.
And what is the top thing of this agreement say? Top line.
A non-disclosure agreement.
And did you said when you read it, did you ever sign this document?
No.
And would you agree with me, there are a number of paragraphs here listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you see those 7 paragraphs?
Yes.
Okay. In paragraph 1, that indicates definition of confidentiality.
Yes.
How about paragraph number 2?
Non-disclosure and non-use obligations.
Okay. Number 3,
Survival.
4,
Governing law.
5,
Injunctive relief.
6,
Attorney fees.
and 7.
Entire agreement.
And what did you do after you had been given this document, or the documents, copies of that document? What did you do with them?
I just bring it home and I call Gracie and
It's not what he said.
Okay. But did ultimately you give them, give those documents to anybody?
yeah,
Who did you give them to?
Gracie.
Now, during the time that you spent working at the home of the defendant, Shayana Jenkins, did you ever see another man who would be at the house?
Yes.
Okay, and just describe the man that you would see at the house.
Just like a black man,
Okay, and approximately how old was he?
between 30 to 40 years old.
Okay, and what would you see him doing around the house?
No, just one day I was outside smoking regular cigarettes, and he asked me for a lighter.
Okay, and at that time, were you smoking?
Yeah.
And did you give him the lighter?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ever see him doing anything?
No.
Did you ever see him coming or going from the home? Or driving a car?
I saw one day he was inside a car.
I'm sorry, he was,
He was like inside one car,
okay.
but I didn't see where he was going or whatever he was doing there.
And do you know what kind of car it was? Do you remember?
No.
Okay. Was anybody with him in the car?
No.
Okay. If I could have a moment, Your Honor, please. Nothing further. Thank you, ma'am.
No.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
You worked for Grazi for about a month and a half, is that right?
Yes.
And you described earlier that basically Grazi has a house cleaning business.
Yes.
And so you were part of a group of women that would clean many houses, is that right?
Yes.
Approximately how many houses, while you were with Grazi, did your group clean?
About 10 houses.
And when you would clean these houses, you would go through the whole house as you described you did at Mr. Hernandez's house?
Yes.
And did you more or less do the same things in all the houses, clean and vacuum and dust and bed linens and things?
Yes.
So what you did for Aaron and Cheyenne was no different than what you did in the other 9 houses?
No.
And, ma'am, I think you said that the schedule you worked at Aaron and Cheyenne's house was that you would go on Tuesdays.
Yes, usually on Tuesdays.
And so when you started working with Grazi, you would go to Aaron and Cheyenne's house every Tuesday.
Yes.
And I think you described there was one day where you couldn't finish your work,
Yes.
and so you came back the next morning.
Yes.
Otherwise, you came every Tuesday.
Yes.
And I believe you estimated that you went to Aaron and Cheyenne's house 4 to 7 times.
Yes.
So the things you saw at the house were based on your observations on Tuesdays.
What do you mean?
She said usually Tuesdays.
Objection's the same.
Well, ma'am, didn't we just talk, the schedule was that you went to Aaron and Cheyenne's house on Tuesdays?
Usually Tuesdays.
Okay. And there was that one exception we talked about where you came back the next day.
Yeah, but
Well,
sometimes...
hold on. If you could just describe, were there other days that you weren't there on Tuesday?
Sometimes Grazi call Cheyenne because like the schedule is like so tight and she changed the date.
Okay.
But usually on Tuesdays.
And usually you would go once a week?
Yes.
So your observations of Aaron and Cheyenne's house are based on you being there once a week?
Yes.
June 18th, you were asked questions about June 18th when you were at the house. That was a Tuesday, wasn't it?
I don't remember. I don't have the calendar.
But there was nothing unusual about going to the defendant's house on a Tuesday that was June 18th.
What do you mean?
You weren't asked specially to come that week. Tuesdays were the regular day. Isn't
Yes.
that right? Now, you mentioned that the basement would smell like marijuana, correct?
Yes.
And am I correct in that there are some days where that smell was stronger than other days?
Yeah.
So in the 4 to 7 times you were there, sometimes the marijuana smell was stronger than it was on one day than it was on another.
Yeah, like one day smell very strong, but like one or two days was no smell, and like a few days with like a little smell.
But that smell was in the basement, correct?
Yes.
You didn't smell marijuana up in the rest of the house?
No.
Not in the living room and dining
No.
room? Not upstairs in the
No.
bedrooms? Now, you mentioned that there was a bedroom in the basement, correct?
Yes.
And I think Mr. McCauley had you point out that bedroom on a plan. You remember
Yes.
that? That bedroom was the guest bedroom, wasn't it?
Yes.
That bedroom wasn't Aaron's bedroom.
No.
That bedroom wasn't Cheyenne's bedroom.
No.
That bedroom was the guest bedroom.
Yes.
Now, you described how when you were in that guest bedroom, a firearm fell out onto the floor, correct?
Yes.
And you were asked to describe that firearm, and you said it was black,
Yes.
and you actually picked it up.
Yes.
Could I ask you, ma'am, could you estimate how much that firearm weighed? For example, did it weigh a kilogram?
Yeah, probably around a kilogram.
Probably around 1 kilo.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like the court to take judicial notice of a metric conversion, that 1 kilogram equals 2 pounds, 3.274 ounces.
Any objection?
None, Your Honor. Thank you.
Court will take judicial notice.
When that firearm fell out and you picked it up, you don't know what kind it was, right?
No. What do you mean, what kind? Like the...
Who made it? What
who
company
made it?
made it?
No.
You don't know what size bullets go in there?
No.
Now, I wanted to ask you about the agreement that you referenced with Mr. McCauley, the agreement that he put on the overhead. When you received that agreement, did you know that Grazi had discussed the agreement 3 to 4 weeks before you received the papers?
Yes.
And did you know that 2 weeks before you received the papers, Grazi was told that there were going to be copies printed out for all the women that worked for her?
I'm going to object to this.
Objection is sustained.
She didn't tell...
There's no question.
Did you know that Grazi was expecting to receive documents, a non-disclosure agreement such as this?
The
Objection
only,
is sustained.
the only thing...
There's no question.
Now, you said you would read this document, take it and read it, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I use the overhead?
You may.
Can you see that, ma'am?
Yes.
Now, this non-disclosure agreement mentions things like not disclosing bank statements and mail, photographs of family. Is that right?
Yep.
And you understand, ma'am, you're working in someone's home, correct? And you're not only working in someone's home, you're working in the home of someone who's fairly famous, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree that it's a good idea to keep personal information confidential?
Yes.
Objection is sustained.
Now, I want to direct your attention to paragraph 4. Do you see that? Governing law.
Yes.
And it states that this agreement will be governed by the laws of the United States and the state of Rhode Island. Do you see that, ma'am?
Yes.
In fact, it says, as such laws are applied to agreements entered into to be performed entirely within Rhode Island between Rhode Island residents. Do you see that, ma'am?
Yes.
Are you a resident of Rhode Island?
No.
Was Aaron and Cheyenne's house in Rhode Island?
No.
Did you know when you received this that it had come from another Patriots player?
Object, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
You took the documents and gave them to Grazi, who was your boss, correct?
Yes.
And that's exactly what you were asked to do by Aaron and Cheyenne, isn't it?
What do you mean?
To give the papers to Grazi.
Yes.
Have a moment, Your Honor.
You may.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ma'am, in addition to in addition to giving it to Grazi, were you supposed to do something on one of these lines?
If I did something?
I'm sorry. I think you had indicated, Mr. Fee asked you about, you were asked to give this to Grazi. Is that right?
Yes.
And earlier, when I had asked you about that conversation, you said, and there was something else about the other ladies with the girls. Were you supposed to sign this, or were you asked to sign this?
I didn't understand.
I'm sorry. When the conversation that you had with the defendant about, and Shayana about this document,
Yeah.
what did they ask you to do?
To give to the other girls in Grazi.
Okay. And what about yourself?
Yeah, to me too. For
Okay.
me too, yeah.
Okay. And what was said about what you were to do with this?
I just sign the document and bring it back.
Okay. And did you ever do that?
No.
And when Mr. Fee asked you about the kinds of information, when you work in somebody's home, did Grazi have a conversation with you about certain information, just generally we don't talk about whose homes we're doing?
Objection to the form of the question.
Okay. When you read this document, do you recall that it pertained to any personal information of any kind or nature whatsoever relating to individuals, their families, friends, acquaintances, etc.? Did I read that accurately, ma'am?
Yes.
So, did you understand if you signed this agreement, you couldn't talk about the gun that you saw under the mattress?
Objection.
Sustained.
I didn't understand.
Objection.
No question. Ma'am, on June 18th, Mr. Fee asked you some questions about June 18th. Do you recall whether you were at the house cleaning on an occasion where police actually came to the house? Were you working on that date?
No.
Could I have a moment, Your Honor, please? Thank you, ma'am. Nothing further.
Ma'am, just very briefly, the agreement that you were given, the blank agreement, you took that and you read it yourself, correct?
In my home.
In your home?
Yes.
You were allowed to take that away to your home,
Yes.
and then you gave the copies to Grazi.
Yeah.
Aaron Hernandez never asked you to sign that immediately before you left the home, did he?
No.
You were free to take that agreement home and talk to whoever you wanted about it.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
You may step down.
Your Honor, if I could, we would call Graziella Silva, please.
Wait, just wait a minute. Just follow me, okay? You're going to face the clerk and raise your right hand. Remain standing.
Do you solemnly swear that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
Please be seated.
Have a seat.
thank you.
May I, Good afternoon, ma'am. State your full
I
name.
just ask you, you have to keep your voice way up. Everyone has
Okay.
to be able to, all these persons here have to be able to hear you, so you have to speak way up.
Could you state your full name?
Graziele Andrade Vasconcelos Silva.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to spell your first name?
Grazielli.
Okay. And your next name or your middle name?
Andrade, Andrade.
Okay. And your last name?
Silva, Silva.
And where are you from?
Brazil,
And do people call you Grazi?
yes.
How long or when did you come to America?
8 years ago.
And when you came to America, did you settle somewhere in Massachusetts?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Yes. When you came to America, at some point, did you come to Massachusetts?
Yes,
And when did you come to Massachusetts?
the whole time.
I see. And what area of the state do you live in?
Now in Milford.
Okay. And after arriving in Massachusetts, at some point, did you begin to work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
Babysitting, and I help to look one old guy to help him with everything.
I see. Now, so initially, that's the type of work you were doing?
Yes.
And were you working for a family?
Yes.
And where was that family?
Concord, Mass.
I see. How long did you work there?
Around 2 years.
And after 2 years, did you start doing some other job?
I did a house clean.
Okay. And how long have you house cleaned?
3 years.
And at some point, did you start your own business?
Yes, 3 years ago.
Okay. And when you say you do house cleaning, do you do that by yourself or with others?
Yeah, I have one girl with me all the time.
Okay. And have you hired other people in addition to the, when you say you have one girl with you, do you hire other people to assist in your business?
Yes, I have a helper when I need.
Okay. Now, I want to take you back to June of 2000, let's just say the spring of 2013. Were you working your business at that time?
Yes.
And did you approximately, well, what type of places were you cleaning? Was it just houses or did you have any businesses?
Just houses.
Okay. And approximately how many houses were you cleaning?
Probably 20, 25.
And how often would you be cleaning the 20 or 25 homes?
Around 5 houses a day, 4 houses a day.
Okay. And what area were these homes located that you would be working?
Foxboro, North Attleboro, Rental, Franklin, Milford.
Okay. And at some point, did you begin to clean the house of Aaron Hernandez?
Yes.
And approximately when did you start cleaning that house?
September 2012.
Okay. And when I refer to Aaron Hernandez, do you see him in the courtroom?
There.
Okay, Your Honor, if the record can reflect her pointing towards the defendant.
That's fine.
Now, when you say you began in September of 2012, where was his home at that time?
Attleboro.
I'm sorry?
Was close to North Attleboro. I think Attleboro.
Okay. But do you know where North Attleboro is?
Yes, I know.
And-
That's like 5 minutes, 3 minutes from there.
Okay. And
For
just
me,
to-
was the same thing. Sorry, I don't know that.
Okay. But later on, did you clean a house for him in North Attleboro?
I started in North Attleboro, December.
In December?
Yes.
Okay. So this other home, did you clean that where he was living for approximately 3 months?
Yeah, September until he moved to the new house, to December.
And was he living with anyone in that other house and then when he moved into this house in North Attleboro?
Yeah, he was living with Cheyenne.
And just describe the house when they moved to North Attleboro that you were cleaning at that time.
The new house?
The
or
new house, yes, ma'am.
That's a big house. They have outside. They have a pool. They have a space for the little kitchen outside. Inside they have the basement, the first floor, and the third floor.
The third floor was the master bedroom and the guest bathroom, 2 guest bathroom, and 1 bathroom for the baby.
Okay. And how often, once you began, you said December?
Yes,
And once you began cleaning that house, how frequently were you doing that?
around 2 times a week.
Okay. And do you know what days you would be cleaning at the home?
Every Tuesdays and Thursday, but she was flexible. Sometimes I change like the Thursday for Friday, or normally Tuesday, all the Tuesdays I was there.
Okay. And you said some other days, I'm sorry, you said 2 times a week. So outside of Tuesday, what other days might you work?
We can say Thursday. That's not, because sometimes I was changed, like for Friday, she was flexible. I know every Tuesday I was there, but the other days, sometimes I change for Friday, but we can say Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay. And when you went to that home, how many people would work on the defendant's home cleaning?
1.
Okay. And what kind of work did you do at the house, cleaning the house?
The base clean, dusting and mopping, vacuum, and wash dishes, and doing laundry, and dry the clothes as well, and folder, and organize as well.
Okay. So would you agree that it was more than just cleaning the house? You were doing other tasks in the home, like the wash and the dishes and those types of things?
Could you ask again, sorry?
Sure. It wasn't it wasn't limited just to cleaning like rooms, is that?
Yeah, because when I start, normally I ask the clients what they need and what they, and she told me that she needs kind of organized shoe and laundry. If the client asks, I do what they ask.
I see. And the areas of the home that you would cover or clean, well, let me just ask you before I get to that, when you said organize, sometimes you organize, what types of things would you organize?
When they move, I help to put all the clothes in the closet, and if I found clothes around the house, and the first floor, I go to the second floor and put it the right location, and if I found things at the floor, because sometimes the house that I not organized, they organize everything for me before, pick up toys, clothes, and everything. And for them, I'll do everything. I organize the house, and then I clean. Put the stuff away.
Okay. And that included clothing that you would put away?
Yes.
And where would you put the clothing when you put it away?
And the closets.
Okay. And were there any dressers in the homes?
Yes.
And where were they?
And the bedroom.
Okay, and where in the bedroom?
I try to remember now. I think it was at the right side to the door for the bathroom.
Okay.
But I don't really remember now because I normally just put the clothes away on the closets.
I see.
I don't remember I organized any dresses.
Okay. Are there, in the closet, are there any drawers?
Yes.
Okay.
They have a part for him and for her.
And did you ever organize those?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the areas of the house that you would clean, you've indicated there are 3 floors, a basement, a second floor, the living room or the living area, and then the bedrooms.
Yes.
What parts of the home would you clean?
All the parts.
Now, at some point while you were working, well, let me ask you this. A young woman just left the courtroom when you were coming in. Did you recognize her?
The Marilia?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
And how do you know her?
I was looking for someone. Marlene was working for me before. Then I was looking for someone else. And somebody told me about her, and I met her, and she started start to work with me for see if she gonna like, if she like it, and she start to work with me.
Okay. And do you recall when she was working for you? How long ago?
Could I get my schedule?
Your Honor, do you have a present memory of it?
No, I have in my schedule in
Well,
here.
the question is, without looking at your schedule, do you remember?
Was, I know it was 2013.
Okay. Well, let me just ask this question. Do you maintain a calendar or scheduling book?
Yes, I had this old one, but now I
You've
use
answered
my,
the question.
Oh, and did you bring a old scheduling book or old calendar with you today?
yes.
Okay.
I did.
Let me just ask you this. Back in May and June of 2013, do you know if Marilia was working for you?
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, were you still cleaning the defendant's house, Aaron Hernandez's home?
Yes.
Did she ever work on that home?
Yes.
Did you ever work with her, the two of you?
Yes.
Now, just directing your attention to some time during that time, do you recall an occasion of some type of anniversary?
Yes. I
Okay, and just
remember.
tell us when about that. When was that? Or just roughly, how did you learn? Or
I'm not going to say like the day now because I have to look, but I just know that was the anniversary because I was cleaning the house and was almost the time that I leave. And he arrived and he asked me to iron his pants and shirt. And she was at the bathroom. She was dressing for
who is she?
Cheyenne.
Okay.
And she told me that they're going to be out.
Objection to what that Shanna said is sustained.
Okay.
She said,
Hold
Sorry.
on, hold on, ma'am. Let me just ask you this. So were you there to clean the house on that day that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And during, how long were you, did you spend cleaning the house? How many hours?
there for
Yes,
them,
there on that day.
around 4 hours.
Okay. Now, at some point, was it getting later?
Yes, and that day.
Okay. And had you finished the house at that time?
I didn't finish.
Okay. Was there some reason you hadn't finished?
Yeah.
What was that?
I didn't have time to do everything, and she was in the bathroom. I asked her, could I
Well,
do
again, you haven't. You're not being asked what
She's,
you said or what she said, just what you did or what someone else did.
Okay.
Unless it's specifically asked.
Let me just ask it this way. Did you then have some work, did you speak with Shayana?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
And do you have a child, a daughter?
Yes, I do.
And on that date, did you have to go somewhere to pick up your child?
Yes,
And I'm sorry?
yeah, that's every day I have to finish by 5 o'clock.
Okay. So do you recall sometime around 5 o'clock, because you hadn't finished, you had a conversation with Shayana? Just,
Oh, I don't know what to ask.
okay, let me try and rephrase it. On that day, when you were working, you said Shayana was in the bathroom? And-
Yes,
Okay, and as a result of that, because you had to pick up your daughter, did you then did you talk to her? Just yes or no?
I did, yes.
Okay. And as a result of that conversation, did you leave?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to leaving, had you had a conversation with Mr. Hernandez, the defendant, about doing something with his clothes?
Yeah, he asked for item for him, and I did.
Okay, and what did he ask you?
Could you iron this for me, please?
And what did he ask you to iron?
What day?
No, I'm sorry, what clothing did he ask you to iron?
Pants and shirts.
Okay. And did you do the ironing of the pants and the shirt?
I did.
And what kind of clothing was it, if you know?
Was just normal shirt, and I don't remember the color.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't remember.
But after you ironed it, what did you do with those items?
I gave to him.
Okay. Now, And after that, did you leave?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you make an arrangement to return to the house?
Yes, I did.
And what arrangement did you, when did you return back to the home?
Next day,
Okay.
at
And
the
when you-
morning, 7:30 in the morning.
I'm sorry, what time?
7:30 in the morning.
Okay. And when you returned the next morning at 7:30 in the morning, was anybody home?
He and her wasn't home, but they was almost gone. Like the garage was open, and they was trying to go out.
I see. Okay. So when you came in to clean, did you clean on that date?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go to clean?
I went to the second floor for finish the bedroom and the bathroom.
Okay. And when you went up there, did you see any clothing in the bedroom?
I saw in the master closet
Okay. And just tell us, what clothes did you see?
was the shirts and the pants was at the floor.
Okay. When you say it was the shirt and the pants on the floor, what had you seen that shirt and pants before?
The night before, that's the one that I ironed.
Okay. And as a result of seeing them on the floor, did you do anything?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I pick up the pants for put away.
Okay. And when you picked up the pants, did you notice anything?
Yeah, was heavy. I thought was the wallet, and I put my hands inside, and I felt there was a gun. And I took it out for see, and I saw the gun, and I was nervous, and I put back, and I left the pants at the same place that I found.
And why did you do that? Why did you leave them there?
Because I didn't want him to know that I pick up this, that I saw this, and I just left there.
And can you just, this gun that you said you found in the pocket, just how big or small was that gun?
It was small. The size we can put in the hands was different than the normal guns that you see.
Okay. When you say, if you could just hold your hands up, when you say you could
Yeah,
put it in your,
that's the size of my hand.
could you just hold up your hand sideways so the jury can see? Okay. And as a result, and just what part of your hand would that cover?
Like this, in my hands.
Okay. And
That was small, like half of the size of the normal gun that the police use normal.
And just in terms of, can you describe further what that gun looked like in terms of color or?
I'm not sure about the color, but if someone saw a nut holder, can thought was a size of like a toy, but was heavy, was one gun. That's like small size, and I was recognized because
Well, you've answered the question.
Okay. Was any, at the time that you found this gun that you described as fitting in your hand, was anybody with you in the bedroom,
Marilia.
Amelia? And when you found that, you said you took it out. What did you do with it?
I just show her and put it back.
I see.
Let
Now-
me again instruct you, as I did earlier, that the defendant is not charged with committing any crime, including unlawful possession of a firearm, other than the charges contained in the indictments. Testimony by this witness about any object that may have been seen in the defendant's residence cannot be considered by you as proof that the defendant has a propensity to commit any of the crimes charged or as evidence of bad character. If you credit such evidence, you may consider it to the extent you may find it relevant solely on the issue of whether the defendant had the means to be armed with or to arm another with whom he was allegedly aiding and abetting with a .22 caliber firearm during the commission of the alleged crime. You may not consider this evidence for any other purpose whatsoever. Specifically, you cannot use it to conclude that if this witness saw a firearm at the defendant's residence, he must also have committed the crimes with which he is charged.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, ma'am, do you remember the date that you indicated the anniversary or that they were going out? Do you remember that day? Just right now on your own memory, do you
The
remember?
day is, no,
Yes.
No.
Is there something that would help you remember?
my calendar.
And
Your Honor, may we approach?
May.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, if she could be allowed to look at her documents to refresh her memory. Now, ma'am, I'm just going to have you open up your calendar and just read whatever it is you need to read to yourself.
Strike the reference to calendar.
Okay.
You may look at whatever you have there and strike the reference to calendar. You should disregard that characterization of the document.
Ma'am,
And look
had I...
at whatever documents you have with you and see if they refresh your recollection.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory as to the date?
May 15 was the day that I went there, and I back in May 16.
Okay. And ma'am, just so it's clear to me, earlier did I ask you about whether today when you came, did you bring some documents?
Yes,
Okay. And did I refer to it as either your calendar or your schedule?
yes,
Okay. Is that what you have with you today?
yes,
So May 16th, strike that, May 15th was the day that you were doing the cleaning and then you left at approximately 5 p.m.
yes.
And the following day that you returned was May,
16,
okay. Now, do you know what day of the week that was?
Wednesday,
Okay. And Wednesday was which date of the two?
sorry?
Was Wednesday, was what, May 15th or May 16th?
Yes, Wednesday and Thursday,
Okay, so the 15th was Wednesday
yes,
and the 16th Thursday. Now, that was not the ordinary Tuesday cleaning, is that right?
yeah, like I said before, Cheyenne was flexible with me. And sometimes when I can't go Tuesday, I just called her and could I go Wednesday, and she was fine. She had her day, but if she was flexible.
I see. Now, you continued to work for her after those occasions, is that right?
Yes.
And do you recall on a later occasion doing some organization in the master bedroom and closet?
After I don't know what you ask.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Let me try that one.
Always I organize. Every time I organize closets.
Okay. And when you say organize the closet, just explain to this jury, what do you mean by that? What would you do?
I wash the clothes and put the clothes for dry, and then I fold her, and then I put it back in the drawers. And if I see something that's not organized, I try to organize every time.
Okay.
Keeping organized.
I see. And do you recall an occasion where you were organizing the drawers and you found something that attracted your attention?
Yes, and his drawer of socks, I saw a gun.
Okay, when you say in his drawer, whose drawer?
Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez, the defendant.
Yes.
And just tell us about that occasion when you were organizing his drawer and found a gun.
I saw the gun. It was not just one. It was more than one time, and I don't remember what day it was, but I saw there was socks there. When I organized, I saw the gun there.
Okay. When you say you saw the gun, just describe the gun that you saw. Was it the same as the gun that you've told us about that was in the pocket?
Overall. You may answer.
No,
Okay.
it's different.
Different in what way? Just explain.
Big, for me was normal gun, like the automatic one. I don't know how
Okay,
to say.
when you say you're moving your hands, could you just hold your hands up and just show us approximately how big the gun was? And if you had to estimate, you're showing us a size, can you estimate that either in inches or
No, I'm sorry.
centimeters maybe?
Like the normal gun that the police use, like normal size that everyone knows. That's not the, I don't know how to, I'm afraid to say the right size, because if you show me the picture, I can say, but not the size.
I see. Have you seen police officers with guns?
Yes,
And how is it, similar or dissimilar?
similar.
Okay. The gun that you saw in the defendant's drawer when you were organizing, what color was it?
Was dark color. I can't say if it was black or dark gray.
Okay.
Because I not like saw and hold and stop and look, and I just see that's dark, but I can say if it's like really black or dark gray.
Okay. And you indicated that there were, it was more than one occasion that you saw this?
Yes.
How many occasions did you see that gun in
More
that?
than 2 times, but I don't want to say like 3, 4, 5, because I don't remember.
Okay. But more than 2 times?
Yes.
And do you ever remember an occasion after seeing it more than 2 times where you had come back to do work and you didn't see it?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you, how long did you continue to work?
Let me first remind you that testimony by this witness about an object that may have been seen in the defendant's residence cannot be considered by you as proof the defendant had a propensity to commit any of the crimes charged or as evidence of bad character. If you credit the evidence, you may consider it to the extent you may find it relevant solely on the issue of whether the defendant had the means to commit the murder charged or to arm another with whom he was allegedly aiding and abetting with the means to commit that offense. You cannot consider this for any other purpose whatsoever. Specifically, you cannot use it to conclude that if this witness saw a firearm at the defendant's residence, he must have committed the crimes with which he is charged.
Mayor, did you ever have occasion to yourself clean down in the basement?
I didn't understand the question, sorry.
Sure. Did you ever, at the defendant's home, did you ever clean and do work down in the basement?
Yes, every time.
Okay. And are you familiar with a bedroom that is off the room that has a pool table and a bar?
Yes.
Did you ever have an occasion to make that bed?
Yes.
And let me ask you this. Did you know somebody to stay in that room?
Yes.
And who is that?
I forgot his name. That's the guy that is arrested.
Oh, okay. Well, just describe him for us.
That's a black guy.
Okay. When you say a black guy, how old is he?
Around 50, 45.
45 or 50?
Yes.
And how often would you see him around the house when you were there cleaning?
And before before the day that I stopped it, months or more.
Okay. And what was he doing when you'd see him at the house?
He almost the time was at the basement. When he was there, the TV was on. Sometimes he was on the TV or pool table.
Did you know if he worked?
He was the whole time there. When he was there, no.
Okay. Did you ever see him coming or going in a car?
No.
And did you ever have an occasion to see or smell marijuana?
Yes.
Okay, and when did you see or smell marijuana?
Almost the time at the basement.
Okay. And would you ever see it, physically see marijuana?
Yes.
And where would you see it?
At the kitchen and the basement and the countertop.
Okay. Does the basement have a sort of like a kitchen area?
Yeah, a small kitchen area.
Is there some type of a counter?
Yes.
Okay. And where would you see it in relation to that?
Sorry?
Okay, so when you're referring to seeing it, where in that kitchen would you see it?
For me was just, and I don't know if the question that you asked was at the top of the count, and was for me dirty. I just tried to clean.
Okay. And when you would try to clean this area, this top? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And did you see?
Yes, the
okay.
green stuff and the...
And just describe, how did you see it? Like, what shape was it in?
I don't know how to... I don't know how to explain. Do you have a translation? What's the...
Your Honor, if we could just have it, we do have a translator here. Thank you.
You solemnly swear you'll interpret to this witness the questions posed to her, together with her answers to the same, so that to your ability to understand and shall be God.
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. I was just asking if you could describe the shape or that it was in when you saw it on this top.
É como se fosse bem seco. Isso que eu não sei descrever. Eu não posso ver. Eu não vi a folha. É como se fosse a folha mais esmagada, monte de como se fosse
It was like it was really dry. I don't know exactly how to say it, but it wasn't like the leaf. It was like all smooshed together.
Eu tinha partes que estava um pouco verde e a maioria escura, uma cor escura.
And there were parts of it that were green, and there was other darker colors, a dark color.
Se eu passasse o pano e separasse, ficava uma cor escura no pano.
And if I were to wipe it down with a cloth, it would be a dark color on the cloth.
Now, how much of this material did you see?
Sometimes it's a small amount. I remember one time when the older guy was there, was more, and when I tried to clean, he went before me and make piles and separate for him, and then let me clean the rest.
I see. Now, did you, just directing your attention to that bedroom, you're familiar with the bedroom off that area,
Yes.
and week to week when you were coming to do work, did that bedroom need to be cleaned up?
Sometimes not, but in those days that the guy was there, I had to do the bed and clean the bathroom because it was used.
Okay. And when you would clean up that room, did you ever have to make the bed then?
Yes.
And was there an occasion that something happened while you were making the bed?
Yes, I felt a gun
Okay. When you say you felt a gun, where did you feel a gun?
at the right side of the bed,
Okay, and the
close to the door.
Okay, the right side, if we were standing at the foot of the bed, so looking toward the headboard,
Right side.
it'd be on the right side. And what were you doing that that caused you to feel this gun?
I felt the gun, but I didn't saw. I just felt and finished my job, and I didn't see anything.
Okay. Is there a reason you didn't try and pull this item out or take this item out?
Like I said, just for not be like, I don't know for what was the gun, why the gun was there. I just doesn't want to see. I don't know. I just keep it there.
Okay. Now, directing your attention to June, 18th, did you work at the house that day, June 18th?
No, I didn't clean. I just went there later.
Okay. Who did you have assigned working on that date to clean the house?
Glaucia Carla.
Glaucia and Carla?
Yes.
And was there some reason that you didn't go to the home on that date?
I was in one appointment for my daughter.
Okay. Now, at some point, did you have any phone communication with either Aaron Hernandez or Shayana Jenkins?
Yes, with Shayana.
And as a result of that, did you ultimately go to the house?
Yes.
Okay. And when you arrived, did you, well, approximately what time did you arrive?
Around 3 o'clock,
And how long did you remain there?
2 hours.
And when you were there, did you, just yes or no, have a conversation with Shayana?
Yes.
And did you see the defendant there on that date?
No.
And just describe, how did Shayana appear on June 18th?
She was like nervous. When I saw her face, I couldn't see that she cried before, and she didn't give me a lot of attention. I talked with her. She was like, como é que eu falo que a pessoa não ficava só movimentando, não conseguia parar para me dar atenção e me ouvir?
She wasn't able just to stop to pay attention to me. She just kept moving.
Like,
How long did you remain at the home?
and around 2 hours.
Okay. And at some point, did you then leave with any of the other women?
I left with all the girls left together.
Okay. And did something happen as you were leaving?
The police stopped me.
Okay. And as a result of the police stopping, did they have a conversation with you? Just yes or no?
Yes.
And as a result of that, did you later speak to the police?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you speak with the police?
They went in my home Saturday at the same week.
Okay. And when you spoke with the police on Saturday, that was how many days later, if you know?
Tuesday, terça, quarta, quinta, sexta. 5 days?
Okay.
5 days, yeah.
Now, at some point, are you familiar with a non-disclosure agreement?
Yes.
Did you have a conversation with Cheyenne Jenkins a few weeks before the day the police stopped you to speak with you about a non-disclosure agreement?
Was 3 or 4 weeks before.
Okay.
She asked me to sign privacy disclosure, and at the time I never hear that word. I didn't know what was, but she just asked me to sign.
Okay. And did you sign that?
I didn't.
At that time, did you have any conversation with the defendant, Aaron Hernandez, about signing the disclosure agreement?
No.
Okay. And when is the next time that you heard anything, after that, how long after that was the next time you heard anything about a non-disclosure agreement?
After the murder.
Okay. And when is the first time, or when is the next occasion that the non-disclosure agreement is, that you hear anything about it?
I think, I'm not sure, when Marília went there, she called me and asked me and told me that Cheyenne gave a paper to her to pass to me for sign.
And later on, just yes or no, did you have a conversation with Cheyenne about the non-disclosure agreement?
Yes.
And did you sign it at that time?
No.
And as a result of that, did something happen?
She just...
Without getting into what she said,
Sorry.
did you continue to work there?
No.
Now, how were you, or who would pay you for your work?
Cheyenne,
And how would you be paid? Would that be cash or check?
more check, sometimes cash.
On June 18th of 2013, how were you paid on that date?
Check.
And I'm just going to show you this document and ask you if you recognize it.
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
That's the check from Cheyenne to
I'm
my
sorry, you
work.
just have to keep your voice up.
That's the check from Cheyenne to me for
Okay.
the work.
And that check was dated what date?
June 18.
And was that cash?
That's the day.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you recognize
Yes.
this part? And how do you recognize that?
That's my signature.
Okay. Round it off, and this is the next exhibit.
No objection.
Maybe mark the next exhibit.
Thank you. I can publish this one.
Yeah.
item, exhibit number 193 now on the overhead. Can you see that all right to your left, ma'am? Do you recognize that as a copy of the check that Sharon Jenkins gave you?
Yes.
Now, this portion of the check, when I was at the side rail, I asked you about that signature. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And whose signature is that?
Mine.
And who received payment for the house cleaning services that you or the other ladies would do for the defendant and Cheyenne? Who did they pay?
Cheyenne.
I'm sorry, yeah, but Cheyenne,
Que ele-
who would she pay, either you or would she pay any of your,
Me, she paid.
okay. And on June 18th, did she pay you any cash?
No.
And as a result of you being paid, would you then pay your workers, Marilia and Carla?
I paid Marília and Carla.
If I could have one moment, Your Honor?
May.
Ma'am, if I could, the documents that you brought today, how are you referring to that? Is that a schedule of sorts or?
Schedule.
Okay. And is it in the form of a calendar? If you just hold that up for us, please. Okay, so what do you call that? How do you refer that?
My schedule.
Your schedule, okay.
Objection.
The objection is sustained.
Okay. What do you use that for?
I put the names of the clients that I have to do the whole week and the month, and if they change the schedule, I change in here too, and I note like if I have a dentist, different things as well.
Were you maintaining such a schedule back in May and June of 2013?
Yes,
Is that what you have in front of you?
yes.
Now, what type of information would you write to maintain your schedule at that time?
I didn't understand.
Okay, sure. Would you write the names of the homes that you would go to?
Yes.
And at some point, ma'am, after you stopped working at the home of the defendant, did you get called to appear and testify? Just yes or no?
After I stopped it,
Yes, after you stopped working, at some point, did you have to come to court and be asked questions?
was before
Okay.
I stopped it.
Do you,
Objection to this line, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
okay. Do you recall, just after you spoke to the police, whether you had, did you make any, later, did you make any notations to your schedule?
Yes, I did.
Objection sustained. This you're trying to impeach your witness.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your last.
Unless you're trying to impeach your witness with what she's been using for refresher recollection, in which case you may proceed.
It's not for the purpose of impeachment.
Thank you. Then the objection is
Okay.
sustained.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
And I'm just going to show you these two items. Okay. Do you recognize them?
Yes,
And the first one, does that have 2 pages?
yes,
And the second one,
2 pages.
2 pages?
Yes,
And what do you recognize these to be?
my schedule.
I'm sorry?
My schedule,
Okay. Is it fair to say this is a copy?
of my schedule.
Okay. Your Honor, if I could just have this marked for identification
Your Honor,
purposes.
can I see what he's showing the witness, please?
You may. May mark it for identification.
Thank you. Ma'am, do you recall what time you left on the 18th, the home of the defendant?
Not for sure, but was between 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, may we approach briefly?
May.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Thank you. Ma'am, you began work for Aaron and Cheyenne, I believe you said in September of 2012, is that right?
yes.
How did you come to work for Aaron and Cheyenne?
Another guy from the Patriots, I was work for him, and her wife give my phone number to Cheyenne.
Another guy from the Patriots, meaning another player from the Patriots?
Yes,
And you cleaned houses with your group of a number of Patriots players, isn't that right?
yes.
And how many Patriots players did you have as cleaning customers?
Now,
No, then, in September of 2012.
that's, I don't remember, around 8, 10.
And you began cleaning for Aaron and Cheyenne when they lived in a townhouse in Plainville, Massachusetts.
Yes,
And they then bought the house in North Attleboro late in 2012.
yes,
And you began cleaning that house even before they moved in.
Yes.
And you continued to clean that house right up through 2013, the June period that we talked about today.
Yes.
And ma'am, how many days a week were you at the North Attleboro house on a regular basis?
2 times a week.
Every week, 2 times a week?
Yes.
And who would go with you on these 2 times a week?
First was Marlene. Then Marlene stopped work for me. And I had Carla and Marilia. And then Marilia stopped and I had Glaucia.
And was there a time when you cleaned Aaron and Cheyenne's house every other week?
Yeah, sometimes. And the time that they was gone for training, fora da temporada de jogos.
When games weren't being played.
He was gone with Cheyenne, and I cleaned the house every week, and then the house got clean, and I just keep it like every other week to dust.
And the things you saw at the house were things you saw only on the days you were there, correct?
Yes.
You weren't there every day.
No.
You mentioned that you saw a handgun in a drawer in the master bedroom closet, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you said that that was, when asked what color it was, you said, I can't say black, dark gray. Is that right?
Yeah, because it's close, the color for me.
So if you think about that, because you also testified you saw that on more than 2 occasions, yes?
Yes.
And so if you think about that, was the color gray?
I just afraid to say the right color. For me, it's, I can say dark gray. Because if you see the black, they have a different blacks. Sometimes it's more dark, less dark. That's why I can say for sure the color, because when I saw the gun there, I don't stop for see like the real color.
Right. And you didn't pick that up.
This one, no.
You didn't hold it.
No.
Directing your attention to the downstairs basement area, you stated that that's the area that you saw marijuana. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you made reference to a kitchen and marijuana being in the kitchen. The kitchen you're describing is downstairs in the basement.
Yes.
It's the kitchen behind the bar area.
I know. For me was the granite and the old part. I talking about the
Right, the old
part.
wood part, it's behind that, correct?
Yes, and the old part.
Right. But the kitchen you're referring to is in the basement. It's
Basement.
not the kitchen upstairs.
No, I
Where the
never-
family
No.
cooks and things.
No, basement.
You also mentioned the basement bedroom, the guest room.
Yes.
And is that what you understood that to be, a guest room?
Yes.
That wasn't Mr. Hernandez's room, was it?
No.
And it wasn't Cheyenne Jenkins's room.
No.
The man that you described as being a visitor to the home, you said between 30 and 40 years old, black man?
45 to 50 years old black man.
45 to 50-year-old black man. You saw, on the days you were there, you saw him?
Before the June before that, like a month before that, was every time that I went there. Not
month?
since I started work for him. Was a month before June.
A month before what? I'm sorry.
June.
June.
A month before June. He was there every time you were there.
Yes.
And did you talk to him?
Couple times.
Do you remember what you talked about?
One time he asked me to clean it up the drugs that was there, and he did. And one time he asked me to, he helped me. Could I put the trash out for you? And he put the trash out because it was heavy.
And did you ever see this man in the downstairs guest bedroom?
Downstairs?
The basement guest bedroom? Did you ever see this man there?
Yes.
Now, in that bedroom, you said that you were making the bed and you put your hand under and you felt what you believe is a gun or a firearm.
Was a gun.
Yeah.
Because I put my hands in that way, and when I did like that, the gun was like that in my hand.
Right.
And was a gun.
But I think you also testified you never saw that.
No.
You mentioned that at some point you were asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Is that correct? And that was brought up by Cheyenne, is that correct?
Yes.
And Cheyenne brought that up 3 to 4 weeks before, I think the way Mr. McCauley asked you on direct, before you met the police outside the house, is that right?
Yes.
And at that time, Cheyenne spoke to you about it?
No, she just told me she was in the downstairs, I was upstairs. She just called me Grazi, and I asked what, and she said, I have you to sign the agreement. And I say, that's okay, and I back to my work, and she's back, and just that.
Okay. And you were asked on direct examination when the next time that disclosure agreement was discussed with Cheyenne. Do you remember that? You can feel free to use the interpreter if you wish, ma'am.
No, I understand. I just try to, for sure, I remember she asked me for that, was after I went to the grand jury. Could I see my schedule?
Are you being asked now just your recollection?
Yeah, I'm not asking you to look at your schedule.
Yeah,
I'm just asking your memory.
the day, I don't know, was after I went to the police, after I went to the grand jury. She asked me again.
Well, you mentioned the grand jury. And do you remember discussing this in the grand jury?
About the policy? Yes.
About the agreement?
Yes.
And do you remember that there was an interpreter there to interpret the questions and help you with your answers?
No, I just spoke to the grand jury without interpret.
And you remember that, like today, you were sworn under oath to tell the truth, correct?
Yes.
And in the grand jury, you testified, page 110, line 4 through 7. In the grand jury, after describing the first time Cheyenne brought it up, you testified, and later 2 weeks, she told me, oh, I print the privacy disclosure for you to sign for me. And I asked her like 2 or 1 week before everything happens, she tell me, I print it, I already print it.
Yes.
So there was another time before you went to the grand jury when Cheyenne discussed the non-disclosure agreement with you.
Yes. And then after
And
as well.
we'll get to that. And then after everything started to happen, she brought it up again.
Yes.
Can I
And-
just remind you to keep your voice up, please?
Okay.
And she also gave copies of the agreement to Marilia,
Yes.
and you knew that.
Yes.
You never signed the agreement, though.
No.
And did you read the agreement?
No.
Did Aaron Hernandez ever tell you that you had to sign the agreement before you left his house?
No.
Did Cheyenne Jenkins ever tell you you had to sign that agreement before you left the house?
She said that I have to sign, and I said no, and she told me to not go anymore.
But
Just,
she didn't make you sign the agreement when she told you about
no,
it.
no. I say no, and she say
Right, you said
okay,
no.
and I stop it.
You said no.
No.
Do you live in Rhode Island, ma'am?
No.
Ma'am, are you a citizen of the United States?
No.
Are you a permanent resident of the United States?
No.
What is your current status?
Illegal.
And you believe you're cooperating with the government's prosecution of Aaron Hernandez, don't you?
Sorry. You
You-
believe?
Você acredita que você está cooperando com o processo do governo contra o Aaron Hernandez, né?
Contra? I don't know.
Against, I don't know.
I just say what they ask me. If it was for help or for not help, I don't know.
Well, my question is, ma'am, you believe you're cooperating with the government's investigation of Aaron Hernandez.
Investigation? Yes.
And you believe that your cooperation in this investigation will help you with your immigration status, don't you?
Yes.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
May.
Ma'am, do you know Ms. Trooper Anne Marie Robertson of the Massachusetts State Police?
Qual o nome?
What was the name?
Trooper Anne Marie Robertson.
No.
Did you text Trooper Anne Marie Robertson and remind her that you were cooperating with this investigation?
And I don't know the names, but always when I needed, like, oh, they told me if you remember something, text me, but I don't know the names and I don't know who is.
Did you text Trooper Anne Marie Robertson and say that you were part of the domestic staff on Aaron Hernandez's house and I cooperated with your investigation?
Faz a tradução para mim.
Você mandou uma mensagem de texto dizendo que você fazia parte da equipe de faxineiras na casa de Aaron Hernandez e eu cooperava na perícia.
I don't remember.
Did you text Trooper Anne Marie Robinson and say, my immigration attorney wants to speak to you or someone in charge of that case because my cooperation with you can help my immigration status?
Yes.
Did you text Trooper Anne Marie Robertson and say, can you call him or ask one of your colleagues to call him to discuss my case?
Yes.
And it's your hope, ma'am, that your cooperation with the government in their case against Aaron Hernandez will help you with your immigration status.
Yes.
have no further questions, Your Honor.
That text that Mr. Fee was just referring to related to conversations that you had with your lawyer, isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. Nobody has promised you anything for your testimony in this case, is that true?
No.
So what your lawyer thinks is essentially between you and your lawyer. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, with regard to when you spoke to the police about what you had seen and observed, this is going way back, and when you testified at the grand jury, you hadn't, this matter wasn't even something you had spoken to your immigration lawyer about. Is that true?
O que ele perguntou?
Que na altura em que você estava dando testemunho no grande jurado, a senhora não tinha nem tocado no
Não.
assunto com seu advogado da
Não.
imigração, correto? Isso?
Não.
No, you had not spoken to.
Não.
Não tinha falado com ele.
So you had already told the police what you knew about what you saw prior to anything about immigration. Is that true?
Você já tinha contado para a polícia tudo que você tinha visto sem falar com seu advogado de imigração, certo?
Yes.
And Mr. Fee had asked you something, and you said whether it helps or hurts. You remember saying that? Just explain that.
For me, first, they went to my house. The police went to my house. I didn't went to the police to say anything. And for me, if I'm going to use the translation. Se eu pudesse, para mim era melhor se nada disso tivesse acontecido. Se eu falar alguma coisa que seja para ajudar ele ou que seja para condenar, anyways, essa ajuda de status migratório eu ganharia do mesmo jeito, independente se fosse para ajudá-lo ou para prejudicá-lo. Então eu não tenho intenção, eu só tenho intenção de falar a verdade e é o que eu devo fazer.
For me, it would have been better if none of this had ever happened. But the fact whether I'm working to help or to harm in this, it doesn't make any difference to my immigration case. I'm going to go through with my immigration case independent of anything that happens in this case.
Tem advogados aqui, sabe, que independente...
Não há pergunta, então não precisa responder.
You have to listen
Okay.
carefully to the question, just answer the very specific question that's asked.
Ma'am, were you finished with your answer?
Terminou a
Was
sua
there more
resposta ou
that
tinha
you would
mais
like to answer?
resposta para pôr?
That's okay. I'm fine.
So, do you understand your obligation in this case, just as to what you were, any expectation?
Yes.
What is that?
Que eu tenho que dizer, ele perguntou se eu entendo as minhas obrigações, né?
You asked if I understand my obligations in
Yes.
this, right?
Sim, eu sei que eu tenho que responder o que ele me perguntar e a verdade é isso que eu estou fazendo.
Yes, I know that I have to answer what you're asking me, and it has to be the truth, and that's what I'm doing.
And you were asked about whether the signing of whether Shayana Jenkins said something to you about signing that document. The document Mr. Fee was referring to, the non-disclosure agreement. She said something about signing it. Is that right?
Yes.
What did she say to you?
Objection, it's asked and answered. This is repetitive and cumulative.
Overall.
What did she say about her wanting you to sign this?
She said to me that she wants me to sign a paper for work for her.
Okay. And if you didn't sign it, what?
I just told her that I didn't want to sign it the last time, and she just told me to not work for her anymore.
Okay. So either you signed it, you could continue to work. If you didn't, you're fired.
Yes.
Objection.
Well,
Move to strike.
I am going to strike that, so I ask you not to ask the form of the question.
Okay. When you didn't sign it, How long did you continue to work after that?
Objection,
I-
reading.
Overall,
I stopped at the same time. By text, she said to not.
I'm sorry, by text she said,
I texted her that I didn't want to sign, and she called me. And by the phone, she said to
Objection, hearsay.
not work.
well, sustained.
did Mr. Fee ask you about what Cheyenne said about the document, whether she wanted you to sign, and conversations about that?
Who?
This attorney right here, Mr. Fee, did he ask you a few minutes ago about conversations about that document, what Cheyenne Jenkins said to you?
Yes.
Okay. And did she essentially ask you to sign it?
Yes, she asked.
Okay. And if you didn't sign it, something would happen?
That's been asked and
Objection.
answered.
Mischaracterizing testimony.
And it's been asked and answered. Move on, please.
Ma'am, you indicated you did other work for other Patriots players, is that right?
Sorry.
Yes, when Mr. Fee was asking you questions about who else you did, there were other Patriot players, you said yes, then probably 8 to 10.
Yes.
And after your involvement in this case, did that change?
At the first 2 weeks, I have a client that said to not go before the things get clear, but I beg to.
Objection.
The objection sustained.
Did
Move to
you,
strike the answer.
And motion to strike is allowed.
did you want to be involved in this case?
No.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ma'am, whether you want to be involved or not, your hope is that will help you with your immigration status. Isn't that correct? That's just yes or no, ma'am.
I don't want to be involved in that.
But you,
No.
but your hope is that it will help you. That's what you told the state trooper. That will
Now?
help you with your.
Now?
Ma'am, you need-
I mean, you can't both be talking at the same time. Why don't you ask the question, and why
Sorry.
don't you interpret the question before you answer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Whether you're telling the truth or not, your hope is that your cooperation will help you with your immigration status.
Ele falou junto, eu prestei atenção nos dois.
Sorry,
Eu não entendi a pergunta. Ele tá
I didn't
afirmando.
understand the question because we're
I'm
talking at the
sorry.
same time.
Sorry.
I'll try it
The
again.
question.
Whether you're telling the truth or not, your hope is that your cooperation in the investigation against Aaron Hernandez will help you with your immigration status. Isn't that true?
If you say...
It's yes or no, ma'am.
No,
No?
no.
Yeah, Coach Ron?
May.
I'm going to show you a text, ma'am. You read English all right?
Yes.
If you could read the information in the yellow box, please.
Could I say something?
No, there's no question yet.
Okay.
That's the text you sent to Trooper Anne-Marie Robertson, isn't it?
Yes.
And in that text, you state, I don't know if you remember me, but I worked on the domestic staff at Aaron Hernandez's house and I cooperated with your investigation into his crimes.
Yes.
And you also state, my immigration attorney wants to speak to you or someone in charge of that case because my cooperation with you can help my immigration status.
Yes.
You wrote that.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Nothing else, thank
You
you,
may
Your Honor.
step down.
What did you say?
Mr. Paul, do you want to wait till tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You're welcome.
Do we need the interpreter tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor, we would.
We're going to suspend at this time. Please keep your minds suspended. Don't discuss the case with anyone in any fashion by speaking or emailing, texting, or otherwise communicating. If anyone starts any communication with you, please end it immediately. Please continue to avoid anything that there could be about this case or about Mr. Hernandez in any newspaper, television, or other media, or that could appear in Facebook or Twitter or any form of social media or anywhere else. Please do not do any research about the case, Mr. Hernandez, or anything you think could be relevant in any way to the case. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you.
All right. All persons having anything further to do before the Honorable Justice E. Susan Gosh of the Superior Court, now sitting at Fall River within and for the Commonwealth, depart and give your attendance here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., to which time and place the sitting of this court is now adjourned. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Court is now adjourned.